2 years ago, my brother-in-law and I were up at the lake. We were fishing, and I had an episode where I passed out in the boat. I'm still not convinced that he didn't hit me in the head with a paddle, but I trust that he's a man of God, and I'm going to have to just take him for his word. But at any rate, he took me to the hospital. They'd done some tests on me, and during one of the medical procedures that they were doing, I had a stroke. The stroke affected the part of my brain that controls your vision, and it left me with what they call a field cut, and the upper right quadrant of my vision is gone, 1/4 of my vision. It also took the depth perception, and it left me with a condition called alexia, which is the inability to read. So there were some very major things from that. Also some equilibrium problems, depth perception, those different things. At that time, I worked for the steel mill. I'd been there for 40 years. And because of the type of work I did, which was a chemistry and metallurgical type work, I couldn't work any longer. I couldn't read. I couldn't go through the plant because of the vision problems and the inability to read and the unstableness and all of that. So it forced me into retirement. And then when we retired, our income dropped to less than 50% of what it was at the time of the stroke. Now the income dropped, but the obligations didn't. So we still had the same amount of outgo with 50% less of income. And that put us in a real tough place. Just a few years before that, our company had went bankrupt, and we had a large amount of our investments in stock in that company, and we'd lost all of that. So our financial plan was to work 7 more years, build things back up, and then retire, and we could have been financially stable. But as it was, we were in very bad shape to retire. And so through all of this time, we'd mounted up these big bills for hospitals, and we had one bill for a hospital was over $25,000, and we couldn't pay that. But you know, God still, we hung on to the belief that He's going to take care of us. No matter what happens, He is going to take care of us. They called us into the hospital, and we talked with them about that, and they forgave that whole debt. Even the co-payment on that debt, the hospital forgave. And we were wondering how we were going to pay these other bills, and the Lord spoke to me. He said, just look into that old savings that you had. And I thought there was only a small amount of money in there. And as I looked, there was not only that small amount of money, but there was enough money in that account to pay off the other obligations. And through this whole process, we have never been late one time on any obligation. We've had more than enough. And our God is a God of more than enough. Not only did He take care of our bills, and He took care of our obligations, but the income that has been brought in has been a sufficient income, more than sufficient. We've been able to pay our bills. And that's just the financial thing. The physical part of this whole story is that the doctor said, well, Don, you'll never be able to drive again because of the depth perception and different things. And you'll never be able to do the things that you like to do. Just try to learn to readjust your life. But since then, God's allowed me to receive my driver's license back again. My depth perceptions come back. So I can drive, I can be mobile. Have I got a long way to go? Yeah, I do. But I've came a long way. And through this whole process, God has been with my family. He said, I'll never leave you. I'll never forsake you. And He never has. Even through the times when we didn't know how we were going to pay the bills, we didn't know how we were going to live, He's been there with us. And that's the end of the story for now.